Everyone needs to learn how to shift. In fact, you could even say it's your mission. Now, I will be delving into just why shifting matters shortly, but first, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Hannah, and I help people to own their powers and step into the driver's seat of their own lives. And today, we're going to be doing that by delving into exactly how shifting helps you, not just like with the small stuff, not just with your escapism, but with the ascension process. So shifting is so much more than just escapism. Even though I would say more often than not, it usually is the escapism aspect that is like drawing us to shifting and wanting to shift and getting into that. And it actually brings to mind the twin flame journey and the twin flame process, where you kind of like meet your twin, and then it's like the desire to be with your twin, this person, have this like wonderful fairy tale like romantic relationship that drives you to do like all this work in this like important stuff. Shifting is really the same way. And in fact, just like twin flames, shifting is also integral to the ascension process. That's why I say everyone needs to learn how to do it. Even if you're not using it in maybe the traditional sense of shifting to fictional worlds, there are many different ways to work with shifting to kind of ascend and make your life better in this reality, on this planet, at this time. And I'll share something with you. I actually am not trying to actively shift at this time. I don't feel it's on my path, like it's in my path to shift right now, personally. If you saw my video, which I'll link up here, about I died and went to hell, my experience with the drugs and dissociation, it's kind of been my mission and the message for me to be very present on this planet, in this reality at this time. And as such, I personally am not trying to fully shift right now. I sense someday this will be a thing that I pursue again, but not right now. That being said, I have been called to teach on the subject all of a sudden, as you'll see from just like all these new videos on shifting now, because it's so integral to the ascension process, and there's just such limited information out there about it, and I feel like a lot of misinformation as well. And so Spirit has asked me to kind of clear things up and really get this in people's consciousness so that it becomes easier to do. Because as I mentioned in my last video, when more people are aware of shifting, it actually becomes easier to shift. So one quick tip for making shifting easier is just to spread the word to others about it. And I'm not asking you to be all like evangelical about it and be like, you must believe in shifting and like make this like a cult or like a religion. No. It's like people can choose whether or not they believe in shifting and whether or not they desire to shift. It's just bringing the concept of shifting into people's awareness and then allowing them to choose what they want to do with it. Right now, given all the stuff that's been happening on Earth energetically, astrologically, just in the collective, it is easier than ever before to shift, and it's just going to become easier and easier. And it's going to be very important for us to learn how to work with these energies consciously and to have this skill. So now I'm going to delve into 5 ways that shifting helps us. 1, shifting allows us to weave together timelines. Wow, that sounds like insane, doesn't it? But it's not. So what's happening right now is like all the timelines are kind of like merging. The time matrix is sort of collapsing. And I know this is like a lot of jargon. You don't have to understand it fully right now if this is going over your head. Know that just listening to these words, it's an activation. Eventually, it will make sense in perfect divine timing for you. That being said, time matrix collapsing, timelines converging, and shifters are weavers of timelines, weavers of realities. Kind of what I see, the imagery I get is kind of like someone sewing together something. That's what a shifter does. You're kind of like sewing together worlds, you're sewing together realities and timelines so that this can be harmonious. The timelines and worlds and realities, they're coming together regardless, but without shifters, i.e. people that are consciously working with these energies, it can be really abrasive, really chaotic, really confusing, and overwhelming to the collective. So shifters are necessary to kind of sew this together and allow this to be a harmonious, peaceful, even fun process. 2, shifting anchors frequencies of unity and oneness onto the planet. And as a result, this literally lifts the vibrational frequency of Earth, i.e. helps with Earth's ascension. If you are new to this terminology, it's going over your head. In essence, Earth is vibrating right now more or less at a 3rd dimensional frequency, which is much slower. Now we're moving up to the 4th and 5th dimensions, which are much, much faster. And these quicker vibrating frequencies, they resonate with such energies such as unity and oneness and unconditional love and all that like utopia kind of stuff, okay? So when you shift, you're creating frequencies of unity and oneness and unconditional love and peace because you are literally like bridging worlds. You are bridging worlds, like people, like characters, places, things that wouldn't have interacted with each other otherwise are now coming together and interacting and being like, oh, hey, we're actually one. You're not like some fictional character that's just like in a book. You're real and we are one and the same and we all unite together at source. Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments below. If this is going over your head, you need a little bit more clarity, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to elaborate. But yeah, in essence, again, shifting creates unity where there wasn't any before, where there were feelings of separation and separateness. Like the feelings of separation were so intense that like literally we thought that fictional characters and worlds did not exist. Like we denied their existence, which is like insane now. Like with, I guess with the consciousness level that I have now, I think that is absolutely insane. But earlier in my life, and many of us throughout this process, we think we're insane for thinking that the fictional characters and realities exist. But now that I have a higher level of consciousness, I can see that believing that they don't exist is insanity because, of course, everything and everyone exists. So 3, shifting helps other worlds ascend. Wow, like there's so much mind-blowing stuff in this. And trust me, friends, I'm not just like playing around with you. I'm just as mind-blown here as you because I'm just like getting these downloads basically as I do this video. So essentially, like I said, Earth vibrates at the 3rd dimension, right? It's slow. Earth, if you weren't aware, is one of the most difficult planets out of all the planets, out of all the worlds and places to be. Earth is honestly one of the hardest places for souls to incarnate on and to live on because it's so low vibrational, or at least it was. The analogy I always like to use when I bring it back to life as being like a video game, Earth is kind of like the video game Dark Souls or maybe Elden Ring or Cuphead. These are some like really insanely difficult games that I'm aware of that are like popular for how difficult they are. That's kind of what's Earth's specialty really, is that it's just such a difficult place to be. People want to incarnate on Earth because it's such a challenge to be here. That being said, many of the fictional worlds that we're like interested in are even harder to exist in than Earth. They're even lower vibrational frequency than Earth. I'm just thinking of some recent ones that come to mind are like Attack on Titan, Game of Thrones, The Last of Us, these really like dark worlds, right? Like it's like you don't really want to shift there because it's just awful. Everything seems awful in those worlds. And it is. And that's honestly like why we are drawn to these fictional worlds, and like dystopias are so like big in the collective right now, and just grimdark kind of stuff, because it kind of makes us feel a little better about being on Earth. We're like, well, it could be worse, right? It could be worse. Like Earth is really difficult, but it could always be worse. We could always be in Game of Thrones, guys. Here's where it gets even crazier, and this just totally blew my mind into oblivion. So because we're such a higher vibrational frequency than a lot of these fictional worlds that we've like engaged with, we can actually serve as spirit guides to these characters and worlds. So we actually are helping these characters in these worlds that they exist in ascend. So when we ascend, we're also helping them ascend. And they're kind of like looking up to us because we are slightly higher like vibrational frequency than them. Like how crazy is that, right? So just remember, if you're like communicating with a favorite fictional character guide, you might in fact be their spirit guide to their lower self as well. 4, shifting can help us manifest our highest timeline in this reality. And honestly, just to manifest in general, if you follow the law of attraction, you're aware of the law of attraction and how manifestation works. Like shifting works perfectly with manifestation. And it doesn't, like, shifting doesn't just have to be like, okay, you're just going to a different reality. What you can do is when you start to shift without fully shifting, you then can manifest or bring things from that reality kind of into this one. You manifest parallel experiences and people and the like into this one. So you can work with shifting very consciously to manifest your ideal life and your highest timeline in this reality. Let me tell you, this freaking blew my mind as well. It all really blows my mind, friend. It all really blows my mind. But this is something I don't think I've ever shared publicly before because, to be honest, it still sounds totally insane to me. But I actually manifested my twin flame into my life because of shifting. So I in the 3D, in this reality, like I was just coming out of this terribly traumatic situation. Like my health sucked. I was broke, like literally broke, couldn't even work. I was living with my heroin addict brother and just traumatized by all of the stuff that comes with living with someone in active heroin addiction. Things weren't great in my physical 3D reality. And so I kind of escaped in a sense. I engaged in escapism and I went to one of my favorite fictional worlds. And I then started working with one of the characters as a guide in this reality. And honestly, sort of a romance developed between me and this character. And I legit felt like I was in a relationship with this character. Like I could literally feel him sometimes. And like, yeah, like I could just feel his energy and it would like fill me with so much love when I had nothing really to work with in the physical 3D reality. And I really did start to think I was losing my mind. But I was like, you know what? If being crazy is this much fun, why would I ever want to be sane, right? That's one of my mantras. So I was like, you know what? It feels good. Like my physical reality sucks right now. Engaging in this fictional world with this fictional character is helping me to lift my vibration. There can't really be any harm in this. So I kid you not but 6 months later, I manifested my twin flame into my life in this reality. And as it turns out, my twin flame has a lot of things in common with this character that I like felt like I was in a relationship with from the fictional world. It's absolutely insane. And there are so many other parallels from that fictional world that I then started to manifest in my life, in this reality. And so then I realized, I was like, okay, I don't need to fully shift to that world and that reality, because I have everything that I wanted from it, that I needed from it in this reality now. So reality shifting is that powerful of a tool, and it can be so useful even when you can't fully shift, to manifest everything that you would have wanted in your desired reality anyways, and kind of transform this reality into your desired reality. So I hope that makes sense. Again, if you got any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer and make more videos, because I'm getting really excited about this topic and the results people are having. And if you're like struggling to kind of manifest, or you really want to align with your highest timeline, and you're in a crappy situation like I was with my heroin addict brother, with being broke and like having terrible health and stuff, hit me up for one-to-one coaching. I'm taking on new clients as of filming this. And if you pass the application phase, you actually can get a free strategy call with me, just to make sure that we're actually a good fit before you work with me one-on-one long term. But let me tell you, working with a mentor figure was also very crucial for me, kind of like breaking the stasis of my own energy and breaking out of that shell and really starting to manifest my highest timeline, which I still don't feel like I'm in personally, but I'm getting there. Like I said in my last video, which I'll link up here, it's like climbing rungs when you're shifting. You're climbing up like a ladder. You're shifting more and more. And that's how I feel with my highest timeline in this reality, is I'm getting closer and closer to manifesting it. Anyways, that was a tangent. Back to number 5. This is the final way that shifting helps us, at least the final way that I'm going to mention in this video. And that is, shifting reminds us of our sovereignty. Hell yeah. Shifting reminds us that we really do create our own realities. Like, you can make a script of like your ideal life, the ideal person that you want to be, and you can create that. You can manifest that. You can literally shift to that reality. You can be that. And you have the power to do that instantaneously, by the way, even though it's kind of hard to do right now. Know that as we ascend, that's going to become easier and easier. And I fully believe that not only are we going to be able to like instantaneously shift like this, but we're going to be able to be multiple places in once. Like, we're going to be able to be conscious, like in this reality and timeline, and also be in like multiple different like fictional worlds, for example, and be fully conscious of all of it. So this is where we're headed on the ascension process. And know that if you are drawn to this video, you are an integral part of that process. And I want to thank you for just being you and showing up as authentically you in this world. Keep on keeping. You will shift. So I'm going to give you a magic mantra, a magic spell, if you will, to help you integrate this stuff, to manifest your highest timeline and to shift to your desired reality. And I want you to say this aloud every time you're doubting yourself and your ability to shift. Anytime things are bad, you say this mantra to negate it. And I also would like you to let me know, like type this mantra in the comments below to really like solidify it into this reality. You're like planting these seeds. And as you do that, because other people are also going to be saying the same mantra, again, it builds and builds and builds, and it makes it more and more of a reality. It really does create that frequency of unity and oneness that shifting as a whole is manifesting. So that mantra is, I choose to align with my highest timeline in all realities, worlds, and dimensions. Do you feel that? Damn, I feel the power of those words as I say it. Like I feel a buzz, like a resonance as I say that. I don't know if you do as well. I encourage saying it 3 times aloud. This is a magical number of creation and you will get results. So if this video resonated with you, I would encourage you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be updated when I post on my Super Radic schedule, and also to engage with this video in some way. As I say, this helps the algorithm along. This gets this out to other people that might not be aware of shifting, which in turn makes it easier to shift. So yes, this would be amazing if you could do this. Me and the dragons and your fictional character guides would love you forever, and we're loving you forever anyways, my friend. Stay powerful. You've got this. Until next time.